Unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time. So it's becoming clear to me that many people, most people, some people, I don't know, too many people prefer imagination over reality. They prefer fantasy over what's real and can be studied and verified from many different angles. They just do. And I don't think that's a problem we can overcome for those people. I don't think we're going to drag people back into reality. I just don't think that's going to happen. I mean, and that's kind of how I explain. Well, what's making me feel this way is just watching the shift. You know, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, there was some real clarity. And when thousands, maybe tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people were happy that he was assassinated, gleeful, joyous, it became even more clear that we're fighting between good and evil. I mean, it's never been more clear. It's literally God kicking you in the nuts to say, can you see what's going on here? And for a minute it was galvanized for that week, that 2 weeks between his assassination and, 10 days or something between that and his memorial service, which was extremely powerful. We had a moment of clarity. Well, not totally, because some people immediately went into fantasy mode. Immediately go into fantasy mode. Fantasy mode is when you don't have any information, you don't have any evidence. You just write a story in your mind. Whatever suits it, Fantasy mode. And what is the thing is about fantasy mode, you'd think it might be good if it led you to a reality, or if it led you to a better place, or if it led you somewhere. But the way I'm seeing things is fantasy mode almost always leads people away from accountability and action. That's the whole idea of fantasy mode. Fantasy mode, well, I can escape my problems if I just imagine my way out of them. The devil did it. That's the ultimate thing. You can say the Jews did it, the government did it, everybody did it. Not Tyler, though. Not Tyler. It can't be Tyler, because Tyler reminds me of my cousin and my nephew. Tyler could have been me. No, that's not the fantasy I want to tell. The fantasy is a dragon did it. A dragon that I can't catch. A dragon I can do nothing about. And I'm seeing it happen all over. I'm seeing people that were initially had some resolve and some clarity go right back into fantasy. And fantasy, what is it? Fantasy is denying reality. And reality is evidence. It's physical, it's repeatable, it's provable, it's this wonderful thing you can put on a table, invite people around to pick it up, turn it over, inspect it, taste it, lick it, study it, slice it into pieces, look at it under a microscope. It's unfathomably incredible what reality is. God created reality. God is reality. And it's right there for anybody to examine if they want to. God is everywhere. Reality is everywhere. You're in reality. You're part of reality. All you have to do is bathe in it, step into it, immerse yourself into it. But people don't want to do that. I don't know why. I can guess why. And my guess is that it just relieves them of responsibility. It allows them to be lazy. It allows them to be evil, is what it does. It allows them. It allows them to make accusations, not have to follow through. You know, oh, a faraway agent did it. There's a group of people, MK Ultra, and they did it. I can't reach them. I can't do anything about it. The fantasy allows you to rather than making an argument or examining that reality, because that takes some time. And I get it. People don't have time. I can see that society has been kind of set up in a way where people aren't allowed to have much time to themselves to think about things, to examine things closely. I unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which day you want to look at it, have set up a life where I actually have the time to go down the rabbit holes and look at the evidence and follow them out and spend real time. I'm embarrassed by how much time I've dedicated to this particular instant. My iPhone doesn't seem to have any shame in reminding me that I've spent 12 hours a day on my fucking iPhone. That doesn't even count the time that I've spent on YouTube on my big screen, looking at things and reading things and trying to examine things. I mean, I get it. I can already hear you. But what about all your speeches about, the glowing screen? We need to get away from the glowing screen. Yes, you're right. I agree. I've got a sickness. Okay? This is not healthy, what I'm doing. I get it. But the glowing screen right now is corresponding with reality. And the reality is that there are many, 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 many sick people who want to see good people dead, who cheer when good people die. I live in a city filled with them. I know I'm being a little bit dramatic, but please cut me some slack. I live in a city that people masked up for 3 years, and they would screech at anybody who didn't mask up. And it wasn't just about their fear. People always say, I have some nice friends that are wanting to be forgiving and cut slack to these people. Oh, they were afraid. They really thought they were going to die. And I'm like, that's not what I saw. I didn't see scared people. I didn't. I saw deputized people. I saw people who, for the first time in their life, had a license to screech and yell and to be authoritarians, to be cops, to be brown shirts. They had a license. The government was giving them license. The mayor was giving them license. The president of the United States was giving them license to screech and police their neighbors, to snitch on them. They were rewarded. Here, have a donut if you tell on your friend. We'll pay you $500 if you call on your friend. They were deputized to find people who weren't conforming with the idea that the air was poison, that people were poison, that human beings were poison. You got to stay 6 feet apart. And they all that's what I saw. I didn't see fear. I saw some fear. I still see some fear. There's a girl that works at the place where I do my grocery shopping who, Peruvian-looking lady. I doubt she speaks English, She wears a mask. She's a security guard. One of the worst security guards in the world. What's she going to do? She's a fat, dumpy little lady, But she's wearing a mask. She's afraid. It's kind of a strange example to use because she literally is deputized. She has a security badge on and a mask. But no, that's what I saw during 2020 and what I saw again are people that have, as soon as they get the green light, as soon as they can be relieved of responsibility, they will kill you. They will kill you. You know? And we're getting closer and closer to that. You look at what Pritzker's doing, you look at what's her name, the lesbian governor of Oregon's doing. You look at what most of these left, look at what Gavin Newsom's doing. You know, they are deputizing, they are pushing their little armies of brown shirts, Antifa, to violence. That's the point. That's what they're doing. You know, they're withholding the green light. But if you don't think they're not preparing for that green light, so instead of just turning your neighbors, it's all implicit. The only good Nazi is a dead Nazi. Keep calling them Nazis. Keep calling them fascists. The only good fascist is a dead fascist. You know? They're just barely holding back the green light. Go. Do it. Kill him. The way these judges are acting, they don't. It's a one, in these blue places, it's a one-sided legal system. It's one-sided. You know, if you're Nick Sorter, you're going to be arrested for doing the exact same shit, less than what the Antifa people are doing, lighting things on fire, screeching, being loud, terrorizing neighborhoods. You know, depriving people of their sleep is terrorizing them. Blasting music all night long, that's terrorizing. You know how people behave when they don't get enough sleep? Sleep deprivation can kill a person. It's terror. But yet, so many of my alleged compatriots, instead of confronting that, no, they don't want to set their sights on how do we deal with these armies. And you saw them in 2020. You saw them in BLM protests. You're seeing them now. No, it's just put on the blinders. Go for fantasy. No, it's not that. The government's lying. The Fed's lying. The Fed is lying. Tyler didn't do it. No. These people that I saw celebrating, they didn't really do it. No. Think about, the Fed's lying. Governor Cox is lying. They're not looking at the evidence. They're not looking at reality. They're going for the fantasy, because the fantasy keeps them from being accountable. You don't have to do anything about the secret Azov battalion. Oh, man, it's getting the clarity, too. The real George Webb, I don't know. Look him up. He's a guy I'm connected to. I didn't realize that I was being groomed or recruited by feds to try to get me into a plot. A number of times it happened. Started with Peter Duke. I thought he was a fan. Probably was a fan, but he's best pals with George Webb. George Webb is on the internet right now just totally stinking up everything. He's taken the whole Tyler Robinson assassination thing, turning it into Azov battalion, this and that. He's a confusion agent. That's all he is. He's a confusion agent. I don't know who's paying him, but he ain't making all the money on himself, on his own. His audience isn't big enough. 100,000 followers on Twitter, 20,000 followers on Substack. I don't think that's enough to buy his plane tickets to go. Maybe it is. Maybe a Patreon, you know. Maybe he's a useful idiot. Maybe his Patreon people are people that want the confusion, you know. Maybe that's the way that it's happening. But to me, I'm looking at their network. Jason Goodman's another one, crowdsource the truth. I've been watching them for years. Jason Goodman actually acted on one of my leads in at the beginning of 2020, which I started Film Your Hospital. Go to your hospital and film, just to show that they're lying about, overcrowded hospitals. They were empty, right? But again, he's always one that just takes anything and he leads it off, theory. Anything that takes you away from the evidence that you can examine, the evidence that makes sense, he's there to just cloud it, muddy the waters. And of course, all these guys are all connected. They're all connected. Peter does a show with Real George Webb. And Jason Goodman are in this beef where they're suing each other for years. It's just like to give this look of like, oh no, we're not together. We're not working together. The redacted guys, Candace, I think Candace is coming in from a different direction, but she's using the same kind of shit. All to muddy the waters, to create fantasies. And it's hard to say how they're being paid. Are they all literally just being paid? I want to know who. The thing that the Jason Goodman, Peter, and Real George Webb are doing, the thing that they have in common is they always seem to lead everything away from Israel. Always away from Israel. Doesn't matter what direction. And they pick up anything. It's just like if a name is, they don't even have to make up. Somebody else throws a name out there. They pick up the name and they weave it into their narrative. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how innocent this person might be. If their name pops up in the media, if Dairy Queen pops up in the media, then Dairy Queen becomes part of the story. Dairy Queen becomes this operations center for M16 or the Azov Battalion or ROTC. Doesn't matter. A name comes up. They keep saying the name over and over again. They did it with the Butler thing too. Early on, people were trying to find out the face of the kid that was shot on the roof, right? The sniper, Matthew Crooks. And they didn't know, nobody had a name yet, so internet sleuths were trying to match his face to other people. They found a protester, Matthew Yearnick or something. I saw it and I went, oh, that looks pretty good. Yeah, that's the bottom of the face, but you couldn't really tell. You couldn't really tell. You got a weird angle of a kid on the, And so the first name that comes up that looks kind of like him, everybody says Matthew Yearnick, and, some high fives to some 4chan guys and figuring that out. But then it comes through and then you find Matthew Crooks and those things start to line up. So, an honest person goes, okay, we thought it was Matthew Yearnick, but turns out it actually matches the Matthew Crooks thing. His face matches too when you account for him being dead and on his side and photographed from a low angle where there's more chin. Put your camera below your chin and you have more chin. But see, so these guys just keep the name Matthew Yearnick forever. Because whatever element enters into the picture, they just keep it in there. It doesn't matter if it gets debunked. Doesn't matter if better information comes out. They just keep it in there because their job is to create the confusion, to keep the confusion going. And what it does, let me tell you what that confusion does. When you see your average person, I blocked this guy, Jeremy, on Facebook today. He's a guy I've never met, a tattoo artist, He was a fan at one point and added me, and he ended up he's a really short guy, terrible comedian, like one of the worst. He's trying to do the open mic thing, and I've been supportive, trying to say, good job, keep up the good work. At least you're out there doing it, He married this woman that's twice his size. She's the one that got walked the red carpet with a MAGA dress on, years ago. I don't know how he hooked up with her, but it's a really weird couple. He's a little peewee. She's this big woman. But he's, taken up this, everything's fake and gay. I think he's the target audience of these people. And he's one of thousands, millions of these people who should have been galvanized by the assassination, the memorial, the reaction, blah, blah, blah. But instead, he sees Candace doing fake and gay. He sees real George Webb doing this. He sees Peter Duke doing this. He sees Crowdsource the Truth doing this, the confusion. And that's his exit ramp. That's his exit ramp. Right and the left is both the same. There's no difference between the right and the left. They see an exit ramp, they take it. Look, and I'm not even going to say that that's necessarily a bad thing. If your exit ramp is, I'm just logging off, I'm going to live my own life, have some chickens, raise some goats, and just get the fuck out of this thing, fine. It's probably good. I should probably do that. We should all probably do that. But there doesn't need to be this big ceremony where you just go, problem solved. Some unknown people lied. You know, Charlie Kirk's not even dead. That's what's going around now. The reel's being floating around now. He's not even dead. It's fake. Squibs. You know. I don't know what you can do with those people. I mean, I made my own religion, the 3 question marks thing, because I like reality, and I think that morality and gratitude can be expressed inside of reality, inside of God, you know? Reality. It's the miracle. That's the miracle. The fantasy is the cheap version. That's the shit version, okay? Your imagination is pretty good, but it's nothing compared to reality. Get out of your imagination. You know? It's a vice. Have a drink with some friends, okay? Lighten a little, you know? And every single vice in moderation is fine. Imagine some little things. At least if you're going to use your imagination, maybe write a story that makes the world a better place, you know? But not a darker place. Not a place where you don't do anything about it. Not a place where you just go, there's nothing I can do about the brown shirts. There's nothing I can do. Just let them put on their masks. I get it. That's what I feel. That's what I feel. And that's kind of how the way I behave. I mean, I'm not trying to stand on some soapbox. I'm talking into a fucking box to make a recording to put out for 30 people to listen to. You know? Hell, my own siblings don't even listen to me. They hate my guts. I had to block one of my favorite siblings just last week because he got on wasted onto my feed. Fucking nobody cares. Stop fucking talking about it. He's a drunk. He's an alcoholic. I love him. We've been writing songs I finally got him to write songs and do something productive, but no, that alcoholism, you get drunk. Fucking nobody cares. Ugh. Had to block him. Ironically, after we had written a song about somebody who believes everything they see on TV. You realize there's a difference between believing everything you see on TV and using technology to actually observe and compare and triangulate reality, right? Every tool can be used for good or evil. A gun, a hammer, a phone, a synthesizer, a microphone, a boot, you know, good or evil. So when you get simplistic like me, like a retard like me, and say, throw your phone into the ocean, that'll do it. Become a Luddite. Get a 12 by 12 cabin out in the middle of nowhere and write manifestos and send bombs to people. You know, it's like, it gets ridiculous. And, you know, I don't know why I make these recordings. I guess I could just say that I'm compelled. You know, I don't know why God made me the way he made me. It, she, whatever. I don't know why I was created the way I was created. I'm interested in certain things. I'm not interested in other things. But I'm not going to be mad at God about it. You know, I'm not going to be mad at God for making me the way I am. You know, I'm going to just try to do the best I can with what I've got, which ain't much. But if I can just direct people into the direction of the reality is amazing and it's far better than fantasy, you know, it is. It's way more interesting. Your stupid imaginary things where you can blow things up and breathe fire and fly. That's cool. You get to do that every night when you dream. You do. You get to. I was hanging out with a bunch of cool people last night in my dream. Can't remember all the details, but then I woke up, you know? Then I woke up. Hello, reality. I got 8 hours to dream, 16 hours in reality. And I don't see any reason why I need to use this 16 hours to write myself a little story that I can't affect things, that I can't do things. And that's what I see people doing. Is I can't do anything about it. What can I do about it? Hence, insert fantasy. I can't do anything about it. I shouldn't do anything about it. The government's doing it, you know. But you can. That's the thing. You know, when people say, I don't have the power. I can't be racist because I don't have power. But you do have power. You do. Every single one of you, every single human being on earth has the power to affect things in a really, really dramatic way. You can change the life of a person next to you today just by how you behave. This is where I fail all the time because I apparently don't make people feel good. You know, I wish I did, kind of. I try to. I try to inspire, but my method, my tone, whatever it is, repels a lot of people. You know, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, I don't want to act. I don't want to act a different way. I don't want to condescend to somebody, you know. I'd rather just shoot straight, and it doesn't make a lot of people feel good, you know. So there is an effect. I'm not trying to make people feel miserable. Anyway, I don't really know what I'm saying here, but you can. You've got the power. You can clear things up. You can give people courage. Courage is a slow burn. Cowardice is a wildfire, you know. If you're not, how about this? How about just stay out of the way? That's another thing that's so bothersome about the imaginary fantasies that people are promulgating. It's like, if you don't know, it's okay for you to not know. It's very much okay for you to not know. It's so okay to just shut your yap and sit back and watch until you figure out what's going on. You don't need to chime in. This is the problem with social media, is everybody's fucking voice is the same font size. There's something really, really wrong about that. You know, if you walk into a crowded room of people, you will very quickly suss out who has the good looks, who has the brains, who has the talent, who has the charisma, who has the energy to direct. And everybody doesn't have the same font in a room. And now and this is the problem, is now it makes everybody feel like they need to make a post. Their post looks exactly the same. The president's post and your post have the same fucking font, and you can scroll past them at the same exact speed. That's a bastardization of nature. It is. When the pigeons land on my deck, as they do. Right now, Winky just landed. Now she's having a drink of water. Something's wrong with her. She's got a medical thing. I don't know what's going on. She's leaking from her neck. It's strange. There was another pigeon that had this too. Anyway, that's a side track. But anyway, when the flock of pigeons lands, there's a hierarchy. You can tell who's in charge. You can tell who's full of shit. You can tell who's scared. I know who comes up and eats right out of my hand. I know who's a badass bitch. I know who's a boss. I know who they don't have social media, but on social media, they don't have all the same font. Their theories would be they're presented the same way. That's not good. That's not good. That smart people and dumb people are treated exactly the same way on Facebook. I guess you could say follower counts or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Anyway. Reality, man. Come back to reality. We can fix these problems, but only if we confront them with reality. In reality. I don't know. Or go to sleep. Go to sleep, close your eyes, and just dream it all away. I don't know. Don't know what to tell you. Well, there you go. Recording made. Yippee skippy. Now I'll post it. Whee! It'll look just like the same everybody else's, and it will get hidden, and nobody will see it. And who gives a shit? But I'm doing it anyway. Thanks for listening. Unnecessary outro song to toll